Hey guys, what's going on? Absolute Beast, bringing you the most exciting thing I've brought you yet, and that is my Xbox One X gameplay. Oh yes, I got it, and it's epic. I'm so excited, and this is some racing on Forza 7, which was the first thing that I did. Was I fired this up and started racing, and at first I didn't quite notice. It looked, pretty similar. It looks better, but I mean, look how good that looks. Look at like the reflections on the car. Look at my driver. One of the things in my gear, which this is my favorite driver gear that I've gotten so far. But one of the things that I noticed was that there's a lot of shimmering. Man, sorry, I'm struggling here. There's a lot of shimmering on this guy in the just regular Xbox One version. But yes, anyway, so at first it was kind of hard to notice, but then I just really started paying attention, and I realized, like, man, this stuff really looks so good. Like, you can even see, like, I don't know how it is for you guys. I don't know if you guys are watching in 4K or not. Even if you're not watching in 4K, you'll still be able to tell the difference. But, things like looking off at the crowd in the distance on the left, that's not shimmering, it's staying out there. So this is a race on Le Mans. And it's a rival event that we can do that I've tried. I've done so many laps on here, guys. I don't even want to say how many laps I've done on here. Probably like 25 or 30 laps worth on here, which is several hours worth of racing on here. And I've yet to get a clean lap. And the reason why is because it's like a passing challenge. So basically, I have to do a clean lap. I have to do a clean, fast lap, but I also have to avoid all these cars that are on here, and it's really tough because they're really bad drivers, and they block the way and do all kinds of stuff. So, in specific, talking about the Xbox One X, like, coming down this straight is where I notice a lot of the benefits. Like, you can see again, I don't know if you're watching in 4K or not, but just like the trees and all the foliage and stuff on the side just looks so good. And especially the space reflections on the car. For those of you who are watching in 4K, in the center of the engine on the top, where you can see like the little bad boys there, you can actually see the reflections on the track on the inside of those things, which is really ridiculous. And of course you can see like the top of the car, like right underneath the spoiler, there's just a real strong reflective space. But like I said, at first I wasn't quite convinced, and this section right here is what convinced me. Just for those of you who are familiar with the game, it looks so much brighter and so much more vibrant, but really just a lot sharper, which is obviously what 4K is going to do over something that's not 4K. But just the clarity of everything, it's a lot clearer, it's a lot more crisp, and it just has a lot better, just a cleaner look to it. And it took me a little bit to notice it, but it looks ridiculous. So I couldn't wait to bring you guys this video. I couldn't wait to play this. I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty the last couple of days, but I couldn't wait to play this. I was super excited to bring you guys some of this gameplay so you can see it for yourselves. But I mean, one of the things is just like the textures, like at the loading screen at the start and stuff like that, you can see pretty much every last grain of detail on the tires, down to like the individual changes on the tire wear and stuff. And that was just a poor decision on my part. I was trying to get through them, but I mean, like look at the reflections on the top of the car. I mean, that's ridiculous. And the road surface is really strong, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, it looks so good. Now, I will say this, something that I've heard people say, and I have to admit that it is true, is that the difference between 1080p and 4K is not as big as a difference between, like, non-high definition and high definition, or something like that, because it looks really good, but unless you're really sharp and you have the eye for it, it's going to be a little bit difficult to tell. And so for me, the reason I wanted to get into play Forza first was, first of all, I've been promising you guys this footage for a really long time, as soon as I got it. But just, for my own personal reasons, this is a game I'm really familiar with at 1080p. Call of Duty is great, but it just came out, and I wasn't even Didn't even think they had an upgrade to 4K. And so this is a game that I'm really familiar with, and I know that there's a 4K texture pack because I have it downloaded. And I'm very familiar with it, and this was the game that I wanted to see the most. See, like that, like it was relatively clean of a lap until that happened. I hit him. I mean, obviously I made mistakes earlier, but I clipped him, and then that was it. So, but guys, I mean, blown away. There is the option to record the game DVR in HDR, but I'm not going to do that because there's no HDR computer monitors out there, and that's just going to mess up the footage. So this is just regular standard range, yeah, it's at 4K. I mean, I'm super excited, guys. I can't wait. I'm going to render this video at a high quality, and I'm going to see how long it takes for me to do that, which is going to be interesting, because normally they only take about, a video of this length, like 20, 25 minutes, would probably only take me about 15, 20 minutes to render and encode. But at 4K and 60 FPS, because the previous game DVR was only 30 FPS, so at 60 frames, it's effectively double the data in a way, and then I'm gonna make sure the bit rate's nice and high, so it's really high quality. So we'll see how this goes. But yeah, I mean, just the cleanliness of it, it just looks really good. So if you think about those of you who can know the difference between like a 30 frame per second game and a 60 frame game, an example that people would know would be like Destiny versus Call of Duty, or Fallout versus Call of Duty, or Skyrim versus Call of Duty. One of the main benefits of 60 frames is you get a lot of clarity. So everything's a lot more clear, and it seems like it's more sharp, and that it deals with motion better. And that's because it has 60 frames per second. But that's pretty much the same type of effect that I'm getting here with this. It looks so crystal clear. Again, it's actually really more a testament to Turn 10 and what they did with Forza Motorsport 7, because the 1080p version actually looks pretty spectacular anyway. So, that coupled with the fact that it's a little bit harder to tell that, the difference between 1080p and 4K is slightly less than it would be between something else. And I don't know what this guy's doing right here, man. Look at this crap. Literally forcing me off. I mean, like, that's what I'm saying. I'm just minding my own business, and that happens. It's ridiculous. So, I mean, this is the Lola. I don't know if I said that, but this is the Lola that I'm driving, which is a car that was I don't know, it's just a car from the 60s. That's real fast. But, I mean, so the fact that 4K is not as big of a jump as from regular to 1080p or SD to 1080p, coupled with the fact that the game already looked really good at 1080p. That's why I was saying at first it was a little hard to tell that there was actually a difference, but then I started looking at it and realizing, like, man, this actually looks really, really, really clear. Like, the sharpness of it was just really incredible. And really started to get to me. And then, like I said, especially like the trees and stuff, as I was going down the straights, I had a lot of time to look. I do actually crash in one of the later laps because I was too busy looking at all the visuals. But that, coupled with the smaller things, the smaller details, like, I mean, look how small those things are. I don't know if they're like intakes. I think they're just air intakes on the top of the engine, or they're just like breathers or whatever. But like, just the fact that those are chrome, and just looking at the space reflections in those as I'm driving, I was just like, oh, like, it was just really making me go like, man, this looks so good. So I'm just super glad it's out. I'm super glad that I got it. It was kind of last minute. I ended up having to move all my games over. I moved, all my important games were already on my external drive, but getting to the point of release of putting all my games on the thing, all my games on the external, kind of last minute, right up until like an hour before I left, the games were finishing. So it's super exciting. I got the 8th one in line at my GameStop, Scorpio Edition. Now, I don't know if I'm just a coward or what, but like, I thought about it after I left. Like, everybody that was in there didn't really seem all that pumped. Obviously it was something like this. Just Xbox in general, and especially something like this, the Scorpio, or 1X, which is basically not a new console. Like, everybody, I'm pretty sure everybody in there was over 18. I didn't see a single kid in there. I mean, I don't know how many people were getting it for a kid or whatever, but I mean, I think there was, there was probably 40 of us, 40 or 50 of us, and there was nobody under the age of even 21. Like everybody was older, a lot of beards. I mean, it seemed like a much older crowd, like a much more professional crowd, but the atmosphere was so muted. Nobody was excited. There was one guy in front of me who just started the hype train and just started filming on his phone as they were handing them out. But the first couple people that got them, I mean, they just sort of took them and just turned around and left. They didn't seem excited at all, and I even made the comment to the girl and guy that were next to me. I was like, dude, those guys didn't even look excited. But of course, after I left, I thought, man, I should have been jumping up and down. I've been waiting for this day for a year and a half since I announced it. So I'll just say to you guys, I've been waiting a year and a half for this, and I am extremely excited. And I hope that every last one of you that has this console, or every last one of you that are watching this video, I hope that you guys get as much enjoyment out of this as I'm going to get out of it, because it's spectacular. I cheered. I was basically jumping up and down as the whole time I was driving home, I had my hand on it. I almost buckled it into my front seat. That's how excited I was. I was just, oh man, this is on a whole nother level, which is super sick. To be able to be on that level about something, I rarely get excited about things like that. The Call of Duty, I got super excited about just on Thursday night, and this thing I got excited about tonight, and man, I'm enjoying it so much, and not just the Forza. I went and started playing Call of Duty again, and there's definitely an improvement on that. So there's really not, I can't really test much else right now. It's hard to tell, what exactly has improved. I mean, they say improved loading times and stuff like that. I'm not really sure. For Forza at least, I couldn't really tell. I was trying to pay attention to see if the races loaded faster, and they seem to load about normal. But again, just super thrilled, super excited. Whoa, can you guys hear that? That is so weird. The sound just cut out on my headphones. Wow, that is not good. That is not good at all. The sound just completely cut out. So anyway, I appreciate you guys checking this out. I'm going to be uploading some other stuff. I'm going to be uploading a 4K Call of Duty video also. But guys, it looks so good. The 1X looks so good. And, it just plays. I mean, it plays the same basically, but it just looks so good and so smooth. And, man, it looks super, super sharp. It's hard to even, because it's not the big stuff. The big stuff, they already focused all their efforts on, but the 1X has enough power to really focus on the smaller stuff that kind of gets lost. So you're talking about things like the blades of grass and the textures on the asphalt, and like I said a couple times, the little reflections on the shiny chrome pieces on the center of the car. I mean, these little details are what make it better, and it might be a little hard to notice at first, but once you realize you're looking at it, it's just ridiculous to look at. So I really appreciate you guys checking this out. Make sure you check out my other videos. Like I said, there's a 4K Call of Duty video coming up, so you can see the difference between that, because I had a video that I put up the other day that was the regular 1080p. This will be 4K, so make sure you guys check that out. I'm really grateful that I was able to get this, and I'm just super excited. I hope you guys are as pumped as I am. So anyway, check back soon. I'll catch you another time. Thanks, guys.